Okay, so we're back on part two of horizontal realistic movement extension task. So the first choice is you can wrap the borders, the left and right borders. What that means is that when our unicorn goes over here, it's going to suddenly jump to this side and keep going, so it'll kind of jump round. And the same when it goes that way, it'll suddenly jump round again. That's the first choice. So it's kind of infinite borders. And you can do that, that's fairly easy. What we're going to say is, we're going to say, if the position of our unicorn is there, is more than there, then we make it there, and vice versa. So it's very simple. So I get if our position, which is x, and we'll start with the more than. If x is more than, I'm actually going to do it slightly off the screen, so 250. Then set x to minus 250. I just place that. We can put pretty much anywhere. I'll put it down here. If we run this now, so take a look at the x value as I hold my finger on the right arrow key. Boom. You see how it suddenly jumps from 250 to minus 250. And if you look, the unicorn is now scrolling across the screen. I can now repeat that code, but reverse it. So if x is less than minus 250, then make x 250. And this is kind of infinite borders. So if we look now, I can go in that direction, and I can also go in that direction. It's a game choice, so that's your first one. You may, if you like, do that. Your other alternative, I will show you now. And that is to limit your unicorn going left or right. Now, in that one, I'm actually going to lower this number for the moment, and we'll take a quick look at what's going to happen. Is if x is greater than, I'm actually going to stop it at about 230 for this one. You can tweak it later, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to, rather than set my x, I'm going to set my x val to 0. Remember, x val is speed. In this case, so we're getting bigger here, so we're doing the +1. I'm going to pop this in here. I'm not going to do that one just yet. We're just going to look at this one, and we're going to see what happens when this runs. Take a careful look at here. While I do this, so I hold the key, look at those values, and it stops. I'm still holding my finger on the key, but it won't go any further than that. I can now go back, try again, take a good run up, and stop. And it stops exactly on 231. So greater than 230, yes, it became 231. And at that point, it said no more, it changes speed. So I can now do the same for the left-hand side, is change it to minus 230. The difference, why I did 250 first, is you don't want it to kind of vanish halfway through. It looks weird if your unicorn gets to that point and then suddenly vanishes and appears there. So I wanted it to go slightly further off, and you can't have the back of the unicorn on one side and the front on the other without a lot more programming. So I just kind of said it goes off, and then you assume there's a kind of a border zone while it flips around the back. But with the actual stopping, I wanted to see most of the unicorn physically stop, so that's why I chose 230. Set x val to 0 and pop that there. So if I run that now, oops, and you notice I'm holding my finger on the left key and it won't go any further than that. If you want, you can tweak it a bit more and you could say do 220 and you'd see a bit more of the unicorn. But that is your game choice. Okay, so you need to pick the right size and the right game choice for you. Okay, so those are your two options. In many senses, it's very similar to what we actually did with the sprite here. So now you need to make a choice. You've got to go back onto the video and you've either got to pick the wraparound code or the limit code, and this is totally up to the design you prefer. So pick one or the other. Stop this video, rewind, you can check how it's done again, and add whichever one you want to do. Off you go. Oh, and don't forget to save at the end.